All right, everyone, welcome into tonight's live stream of Wave News Extra. Yeah, it is Wednesday, January 7th, taking another quick look from our SkyTrack network and observing pretty nice to see a quiet, calmer night from our Bardstown, Kentucky location. Just observing a little bit of that late evening, let's say, traffic. But glad you're joining us here in the Wave Now studios. We do have a lot to get to. And if you notice perhaps a more casual outfit I'm wearing tonight, we're just working on a special series that's going to coincide with our Winter Olympics Games coverage that we hope you'll, of course, join us when that time comes in early February. And our visit with several really cool people around the Louisville Metro participating, advocating, educating, reaching out about the different sports that you're going to get to watch over the course of those days in Italy. But we're going to begin tonight perhaps with a pretty close look at a lot of those top stories, some breaking from a little later in the afternoon to others revisiting the bigger stories earlier to start the day. So we're going to check back in as we continue to follow this pretty developing story, because it was a deadly police shooting. And here's a look our crews got outside of this, I believe it's a Nelson County gas station. KSB confirming local sheriff's deputies got involved in the shooting around 1:30 in the afternoon. So this is a shell on Bloomfield Road near Bardstown. KSB telling us one person died, though the details beyond that haven't quite been as confirmed or elaborated on just yet. But KSB says any further updates are going to come from their main office in Frankfort. And as we get those updates, we'll make sure to share them with you. So something we'll likely see if we can get any updates and share those with you when we come back for our newscast tonight on Wave News at 11. Meanwhile, in this other report and update, judges are waiting for a competency hearing to figure out what the next steps are going to be for a man accused of kidnapping a woman and her children last year, attacking her in a bank drive-through. Pretty tension-grabbing headline, especially the fallout ever since that abduction happened. At the time of the crime, Armand Langford, if it's a name you might be familiar with our reporting on, was already on probation for a 2024 conviction. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke has this report with an overview of Langford's case.
Armand Langford made it clear what he wants next in his case, but Judge Jessica Green says he will have to wait until March. That's when doctors will testify to their findings during Langford's competency hearing. Here's what we know about Langford's history with the justice system. In 2024, Langford pleaded guilty to a series of robberies from 2021, but after 5 months in state custody, he was released on shock probation, only serving a fraction of his 14-year sentence. In August of 2025, Langford was accused of a kidnapping that evolved into a robbery and assault. Police say he kidnapped a mother and her kids at knife point from their home in St. Matthews, drove to the PNC Bank on Shelbyville Road, and robbed the drive-through teller. He also stabbed the mother. Once caught, LMPD says Langford admitted to committing 3 violent robberies from years ago. This is in addition to the 2021 robberies that landed him in jail. On Wednesday, Judge Jessica Green explained to Langford they are taking the proper steps in his case.
So either way, some type of step is going to be taken on March the 5th after you see me and after there is some sort of a finding for competency or for incompetency. So I understand your angst. I understand where you are, but everybody in this room has a job to do and to make sure that the record is clean.
Marissa Burke, Wave News.
And as the case or whatever comes out of the competency hearing plays out, we'll make sure, again, I always say we update you when that time comes. Our Wave Digital team and the reporters getting that out to you on push alerts and the free news app and on wave3.com. And another story with an update on a big address tonight from Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear wrapping up his 7th State of the Commonwealth speech. It was just this afternoon. In it, he was highlighting what he was touting as the state's successes, as well as what he's asking from the General Assembly this year as they meet to work out the budget and other legislative priorities. Our Wave News crew was there to listen in, reporting on the governor's address. And part of the speech that we want to play for you was, again, touching on many different subjects, but also the governor stressing on some issues he said should unite Kentuckians and that would benefit the state as a whole. Let's see if I can play that for you here.
A good job, affordable health care, safe roads and bridges, good schools, safe communities. These aren't red or blue issues. They're just what every Kentucky family wants, what every Kentucky family deserves, and what our American families demand. To keep succeeding, we must remain focused on what matters most, our people and bettering their lives. And that's why I remain optimistic about what we can continue to accomplish together.
And then you hear the governor, or at least that part of the video, him wrapping things up. I will say for tonight's newscast at 11, we're going to play a little bit more of what the governor had to share in the address to the Commonwealth, but also the countering response from top state Republicans, I believe State Senator Robert Stivers, and that response from House leadership as well to the points the governor was making in the specific address, what that all will entail, as they will now have to work and see how the budget process lays out the general session. Coming back to the metro, the city of Louisville is launching a new project that's going to use AI, artificial intelligence, to improve its permitting process. Metro government awarded the city's first AI pilot project to the website in question. It's govstream.ai. They're a company that helps build the software to streamline permitting and development processes. So the pilot project, they say, is going to focus on improving, modernizing how you would get permits for people trying to remodel or build a new structure. There's also a newly appointed chief AI officer who says the initiative is going to help city departments test and evaluate new technologies, emerging technologies, while ensuring that there is data privacy as a priority. There's transparency, they put it, and also accountability as tent poles for how the office should go about its business.
There's all kinds of opportunities and ways that we can utilize AI. We will be looking for ways to actually learn fast in this space. Try, learn, adjust will be our approach.
So again, the project underway, findings and recommendations are going to be supposedly shared publicly once the pilot concludes in the spring. Mayor Greenberg says he expects to announce more AI pilot projects coming online soon. And in the subject matter, now going back to sort of state issues, what lawmakers, state representatives and state senators might be discussing is this particular matter, because it's a proposal from a local state level lawmaker that could potentially break up JCPS as it exists. Representative Jared Bowman of Louisville filed what's called House Bill 11. The language in it would require the Kentucky Department of Education to let local legislatures be notified when a school district within their jurisdiction has more than 50% of federally required comprehensive support and improvement, or CSI, classified schools. So there's your metric, more than 50%, that metric for CSI. Local voters would then get the chance to vote on a split, and then they would adopt new school district maps created by a local legislative body. So as of 2025, the Commonwealth has 53 CSI designated schools. 41 of these schools are in Jefferson County. So whatever comes of those debates as they either move in or out of committee, we'll make sure to let you all know as that plays out. We do have much more to get to tonight on Wave News Extra, so hope you enjoy or stay with us as we continue our live stream. We're going to touch on at least the newest information, or just some of the other images of the ICE-involved shooting up in Minneapolis, what the reaction or some of that has been since. So again, that is kind of a more national story, and we will come back to sort of the footprint of impacts here in our own backyard across Kentucky and Southern Indiana. But just so you know, some of what we're going to touch on as we come back and take this quick break on Wave News Extra. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us or joining us on tonight's live stream of Wave News Extra here in the Wave Now studio. And the big story that broke into a special report, likely on a lot of TVs as we were going about the afternoon. An update tonight, since we've learned the name of the woman who was killed in this encounter with ICE agents in Minneapolis, 37-year-old Renee Good. There are conflicting viewpoints of this confrontation emerging over the last couple hours. So ICE agents say they were doing targeted operations in the city and the neighborhood where the shooting happened. Homeland Security saying that Good, who was a driver, this is, their statement that they believe she weaponized her car trying to run over officers and claims that the officer who shot was in self-defense. Meanwhile, city leaders like the mayor say that he has seen video directly contradicting those claims. What we're hearing here, I believe, is sound from a witness who talked to reporters out there describing the scene of the chaos.
And as I'm driving by, it was a red truck and nothing but the airbags and full of blood, and there was a body on the streets. It was a woman. They shot a mother this morning trying to flee from ICE agents. That's what happened. That's what I can tell you what I saw.
And DHS saying that ICE officers hurt during the incident are expected to make a full recovery, though they did not go into detail about those specific injuries. But again, the big national story that we have, affiliates and other bureaus commenting on. So as we go about more details to share with you, whatever is confirmed or able to be spoken of tonight, we'll make sure to let you know on the Wave News at 11 newscast. Right, I got a little bit ahead of the graphic there, but I'm going to bring it back to an update on a story here for the Commonwealth. It's a case we actually reported on last week and shared with you what was going on, because in the end, prosecutors say they dismissed a pretty key serious charge against a woman accused of aborting her pregnancy. And so this was the graphic of the mugshot. The woman in question, Melinda Spencer, she was arrested last week after state troopers say she told a clinic that she aborted her pregnancy, burying the fetus. They say she used medication that she ordered online. Well, just yesterday, so Tuesday, a Wolfe County grand jury did indict Spencer on 4 charges, including fetal homicide. But in a new motion, the prosecutors there say state law on the specific charge of fetal homicide states it does not apply to any acts of a pregnant woman that caused the death of her own unborn child. Still, Spencer's charged with concealing, giving birth to the infant, corpse abuse, and evidence tampering. So, just that big, noticeable update. But of course, the trial or whatever proceedings still have to play out. Something we will stay on top of over the course of whatever does happen in this particular case. In this case, also bringing some national policy decisions and putting it a little more into the context of the impact of people in our community, how they're sort of processing what the decision was. Local pediatricians and health leaders, in this case, some are saying they're pushing back against brand new CDC guidelines, cutting the number of recommended vaccines for children. The new CDC recommendations just out and released this week. Wave News reporter David Mattingly finds some doctors are going to stick with recommendations from a different but also long trusted organization.
At the Kaplan Barron Pediatrics office in Hikes Point, doctors are suddenly spending a lot more time with questions from parents about childhood immunizations.
Started yesterday, started getting several questions. I'm getting questions from every newborn baby. I had 3 in the hospital this morning to round on. They're all asking about the hepatitis B vaccine, and they're really leaning on us, like, what's your impression?
The questions erupted after the CDC recommended all children get vaccines for just 11 diseases, down from the previously recommended 18. The move conflicts with the agency's own reports. This one from 2024 praises childhood vaccinations as having prevented 508 million cases of illness, 32 million hospitalizations, and 1.1 million deaths among children born in the previous 30 years.
It's like, why take that risk when we've got decades of data showing that these vaccines are safe? Why take the risk?
Baum is among pediatricians rejecting the CDC and relying on widely accepted recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics. On its website, the Academy strongly recommends immunizations as the safest, most cost-effective way of preventing disease, disability, and death. Academy charts also show when vaccines are recommended, as timing is critical to prevention.
Delaying vaccines does put children at risk because the way that the schedule has been set up is to protect children from diseases when they are most at risk for those specific diseases.
That was our David Mattingly with that report. As far as local public health officials commenting on the CDC recommendations, in a statement, Metro Public Health directors, their directors saying, quote, "It will increase vulnerability to vaccine preventable diseases among children, causing unnecessary suffering, possibly even death," end quote. So, not a done and dusted story, something we'll certainly be following. However, doctors or at a local or county or state level, they might be navigating parents' questions through this particular process. In the vein of some federal guidance updates, Health and Human Services also revealed their new inverted food pyramid. I think I might have forgotten to export the image for you to show you on the screen right now. I'm sure we do have that up on wave3.com as far as like the reports that come in, and we're able to publish and share those with you. You're going to see probably the widest part, so the base, but the top of the pyramid focus on fruits and veggies, protein, dairy, healthy fats. Some experts are arguing people should actually eat less red meat and dairy than the new pyramid would imply. Others still praising the guide overall. Associated guidance is also upping the daily protein recommendation for people based on body weight. At the bottom of the pyramid, you'll see images of, and again, we'll probably have the link up to the article on wave3.com, but the bottom with the least focus on wanting that consumption is for whole grains, and HHS suggested also consuming less alcohol, sugar, and ultra-processed foods. In a story, since we brought you the update of Amy McGrath again running for the U.S. Senate, another person also making it official, hoping to replace Mitch McConnell in the Senate, is Daniel Cameron. Now, McConnell announcing that he would not run for an 8th Senate term in 2026, retiring from politics. Cameron, a Republican, served as Attorney General here in the Commonwealth from 19 to 24. He tried to run for governor in 2023, though lost to Democratic incumbent Andy Beshear. And one of the issues Cameron and his campaign say they're going to focus on, among many that were discussed in this campaign kickoff today. But this is Cameron discussing energy independence.
I mean, we stand at a really critical juncture in our country. China is trying to take the lead on a bunch of forward technologies. But here in Kentucky, we have low cost and reliable energy to take part in the economy of the future.
Now, Cameron will face competition within the Republican primary from U.S. Representative Andy Barr and businessman Nate Morris, among others. Again, just mentioned just yesterday, Democrat Amy McGrath officially filing to run for Senate. This is her second attempt at the seat. Other notable names on the Democratic primary side will be Charles Booker and Pamela Stevenson. All right, coming back here into the studio. And we've been following this with the revelation of at least new perspective of body camera video, helicopter video shared by LMPD. But it's the news also that businesses impacted by the deadly November plane crash, some say they've been waiting to hear this particular update for weeks, that in a week's time, they're going to have finally 24-hour access to their own facilities for the first time since the tragedy happened. Now, we've been hearing and checking in with some workers and business owners. They say they were frustrated they couldn't work as they wanted to while cleanup was still going on and still is to be finished. Today, Wave News anchor Brian Schlonsky heard from city leaders on how difficult the process has been to try and clear the scene and release these offices, these warehouses, these spaces back to the business owners.
15 lives lost, more than 20 hurt, and livelihoods upended when UPS Flight 2976 fell from the sky just after takeoff on November 4th. In the 2 months since, there have been vigils for the families, lawsuits filed, and some frustrations from business owners unable to access their properties while an extensive cleanup operation took place. Now, 9 weeks later, the impacted businesses in the crash zone have been notified. They are one step closer to getting their work lives back to normal.
We're happy to say that next Wednesday, we're going to give full access to them 24 hours a day starting next Wednesday.
Jody Myman with Metro Emergency Management says work at the crash site hasn't stopped.
There were workers on site all through those holidays, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, where people were working on site to get things done.
LG&E's contribution, a major component that had to be finished to let businesses back in.
And they've completed their process with all the gas lines, remediating all the old gas gas lines and taking care of that and stabilizing the area along with the electric.
Then there's MSD, the agency on site doing environmental cleanup every day for the past 9 weeks.
Working collaboratively with the contractor from UPS, we have effectively been successfully removing about 4.7 million gallons of oily water, including more than 200,000 gallons of oil.
A key point of emphasis, working on the Melco flood retention basin to prevent future flooding near the airport.
Most of the downstream Pond Creek area has been mitigated. We're not seeing any impacts from runoff or anything like that. So our primary focus is up near the crash site and at our Melco Basin.
And our thanks to our Brian Schlotsky for that report and update. Now, even with businesses being able to return in much the way they would like to next week and accept some deliveries in some cases, there are still going to be some restrictions they have to follow. But businesses were notified of what they'll have to navigate through an email that was sent out just this morning. And so of those details and perhaps, what that new reality of trying to work through the cleanup will look like, if we do hear of any other updates on that matter, we'll make sure to let you know. All right, we're going to reset for another round of different kinds of stories that we're going to touch on tonight's live stream. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back, folks. Stay with us. Hi, everyone. It is 8:28. We're back with more stories in this case. We know Indiana National Guard firefighters are going to head overseas to do a mission in Romania. 10 Guard members, they're headquartered at Camp Atterbury, but they left for the mission just yesterday. So these soldiers specialize in firefighting techniques to save lives, as well as any property and military equipment that are in danger. So they're going to help support something called Operation European Assured Deter and Reinforce for about the next 9 months. This is the second deployment for these National Guard firefighters specifically. Their first some time ago was to Afghanistan in the year 2011. We're coming back here into the Wave Now studio. A local nonprofit is trying to help support cancer patients foot their medical bills for the treatment that they will need to get through what that entails. And it's Shirley's Way. They're launching a $25,000 giveaway to support cancer patients. So this money given to a Kentucky resident currently receiving or previously treated for cancer, but might have a balance that they might owe. They'll be able to receive up to $25,000 in bill payments made directly to approved household bills and financial obligations. The giveaway entries are open now through January 20th. A winner is going to be notified on January 21st. And more things happening right here in our own backyard for fans of the Louisville Zoo. They've welcomed a brand new mammal member to the family. This is Victoria, a 3-year-old Amur tiger who just moved here from the Rolling Hills Zoo in Kansas. Zoo officials and leaders plan to introduce Victoria to the zoo's male Amur tiger, whose name is Timmy. This is part of the species survival plan, so hoping that Victoria and Timmy might like each other. You can now see Victoria at Tiger Taiga, which happens to be near Snow Leopard Pass inside the zoo facility. Now, we also do love to share updates in the latest series of our What's Good specials around Wave Country. And this is a sort of called a celebration or just a great, incredible milestone for someone still so lively at their age, wanting to do what it is they've done for so long. And for context here, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that an average employee in the U.S. stays with their company for just 4 years. Wave News anchor Shannon Kogan met and sat down with a Louisville man who's worked with the same company for 70 years.
He's 94 years old, but Dan Santos still goes to work at New York Life. He's been doing it for 70 years.
I like to be doing something every day. So if I retired, what would I be doing? Watching TV every day or something?
The Massachusetts native met his Louisville-born wife when he was stationed at Fort Knox and took a job with the company.
Hello?
The insurance agent has cut down the number of days he works.
I'd rather come in every day, but they won't let me come in every day. So I only come in on Tuesday and Thursday.
They are his kids.
Yeah, good genes. We're holding on.
Dan Santos Jr., who's worked alongside his dad for more than 30 years.
So now I can take care of his people going forward.
Did I sign something for that?
There was a signature involved, yes.
And his daughter, Lisa.
No, I will not work at a paid job until I'm 94. No.
She drives him to and from work, something he's not happy about.
I'm really still teed up that they won't let me drive anymore.
I can tell.
And I want to talk to you about that.
Yes,
And I want you on my side.
All right. One thing you won't find on his desk, a computer. He's never used one.
How has your business changed over the years? Like, do you have a cell phone now?
Yes. Where is it? Yeah.
7 decades with the same company and no plans to stop. Shannon Kogan, Wave News.
Don't meet many people like Dan Sr., not nowadays at least. And he says one reason he stays as long as he has with his career is that he does like helping his clients. So certainly something, celebrate for the reasons he, wants to remain lively and, contribute in this way. So something to add to our collection of great stories to share with you in our What's Good series. If you want to shout out something good, someone doing something remarkable in your neighborhood, in our neighborhood, and you want to shout them out, make sure to send us an email with that information. And you can always write to What's Good, altogether, WHATSGOOD, @wave3.com. All right, folks, after this next break, we're going to talk a little bit more Hoosiers football, getting ready for this next massive game, and our crew letting you know what to expect. So hope you stay with us as we talk about Hoosier fans also getting quite excited. So we'll be right back with more Wave News Extra after this. All right, folks, if you can believe it, Hoosiers fans in particular, not too far from IU football taking on Oregon in the Peach Bowl with the trip to the national championship on the line. These are massive stakes. Wave Sports anchor Dusty Baker just got to Atlanta, and he sets those stakes and the scene for you.
Well, we have made it to Atlanta, Georgia. We are in downtown Atlanta, of course, for the big show that is Hoosier Nation. IU making their first appearance here in the college football playoff semifinals after coming off that massive victory over Alabama, 38-3. It's going to be the Oregon Ducks. They'll be going up against a familiar foe, a rematch, of course, back in October. These two went head-to-head. Indiana winning that matchup by a final of 30-20. The winner between these two, the Hoosiers and the Ducks, will be going on from Atlanta, Georgia to Miami for the chance to play in the national championship. It's going to be a really special week as well. We'll hear from some of the players later tonight. We'll hear from Coach Curt Cignetti tomorrow, and then it's kickoff on Friday. A very exciting, a very emotional week for Hoosier Nation, as this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We'll keep you updated as we continue our happenings here in downtown Atlanta. Until then, though, reporting in downtown Atlanta, Dusty Baker, Wave Sports. I'll send it back to you.
Of course, our thanks to Dusty, and talking about the range of emotions, including just sheer excitement, thousands of IU fans also lining up to get their hands on limited edition gear ahead of the college football playoff semifinal, which includes some commemorative rally towels and posters that they probably want to keep and hold on to onto for posterity. Some fans in line that talked to cameras and reporters say they were waiting hours, and they say it was well worth it.
It's never going to feel real just seeing like how many people not even lining up for a game, lining up just to get a commemorative towel.
I might have said that quite well. An organizer from IU says they actually handed out 10,000 towels and around 800 posters for this crew of mega fans. All right, so coming back to a staple of fun and horse racing here locally in the metro, submissions are open for local charitable organizations to join in Wednesday at Churchill Downs. So the event was first introduced last year as part of the overall Kentucky Derby week. It is coming back. This time around, it'll be on Wednesday, April 29th. Up to 50 area nonprofits are invited to join in the celebration. Wednesday, again, is sort of a focus and vision statement is to provide participating nonprofits multiple ways to raise funds, including special cash prizes, to also increase awareness for their respective group on race day. The registration, again, open now. It's going to close noon on Wednesday, January 21st, and there will be a live drawing on the 23rd to choose the group of the 50 organizations who will make it into the select group for this year. We're going to wrap up with tonight, folks. Maybe this was something you were enjoying right after, December 25th or leading up to it. Just things to do around the family. We feel like the holiday season is a great time for a lot of either blockbusters, movies, or very, interesting things that might be considered for award season. So movies considered one of those activities for a while. That was something to do around this time. But a question some folks, consumers might be asking now is if a trip to the movies is actually turning into a luxury. There's a new Lending Tree survey out that suggests many moviegoers say it's not just tickets, but it's the concessions. So the combo has gotten so expensive, they're choosing to stay at home and stream. In this Watching Your Wallet update, consumer investigator Chris Jackman breaks down at least what is the theme of the findings in the survey, and then also simple ways that advocates to make the most of your money want to keep movie night fun without blowing through the budget.
A night at the movies has made us laugh, jump, and cry for generations. But a new survey by Lending Tree found that many moviegoers feel today's ticket prices are soaring to blockbuster heights.
Almost 80% of moviegoers say that the experience of going to the theater has gotten so expensive that it's now become a real luxury.
In the survey, moviegoers estimate they spend about $32 per person on tickets, snacks, and drinks, or about $64 for 2 adults. And it's not just sticker shock. About half say a trip to the theater isn't worth the cost. So people are looking for ways to cut corners. Most say they typically buy concessions at the theater, but more than half admit they sometimes bring their own. And many movie lovers are opting to watch from the couch instead, saying streaming is the better value.
And while there's a streaming subscription that you pay every month, or a pay-per-view fee maybe, it's certainly not going to cost you generally $32 to sit down and watch that movie at your house.
Still, if you love the theater experience, a little planning can keep it affordable. Build movie night into your budget. Go at off-peak times like matinees, and use loyalty discounts if your theater offers them without spending extra just to earn perks.
There's been so much written about the growth of streaming and the threat to movie theaters, but movie theater experience is still really fun. And there's nothing like being in that theater and just being swept up in a wave of emotion with a couple hundred of your closest friends, right? And I think there's always going to be a space for that.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
And to add to that Consumer Report update from Watching Your Wallet, they say while Lending Tree in the survey they put out did find many moviegoers do prefer streaming at home, the top draws for folks who still choose to go to the theater include a big screen experience. So it's a movie that really is trying to lure fans in to watch a spectacle that they argue is meant to be seen with massive speakers and sound system and the biggest screen possible, and also a chance to get out of the house to just spend time outdoors, or at least outside those confines with your friends or family. All right, a reminder that as any breaking news or original reporting and these stories do come in, we update that as soon as we can and go much further into some of the context we want to share with you. It lives here at your fingertips on wave3.com. The things we also can push out to your smartphones when you download the free Wave News app and the free Wave Weather app. And of course, the temperature, the storm tracking team also keeping tabs on what we do have coming up as we also wrap up tonight. Look ahead to the rest of the weekend. We invite you to join us at 11 again. We're going to have reporting from our 2 members of our night news team, our Meredith Lee and our Julie Richardson, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett, also watching what the changes are going to be, just to what degree some of these changes are going to come as we look ahead to Thursday, Friday, and the weekend. Something to look forward to for sure. All right, folks, appreciate your time. You're joining us, whether that's on Facebook. And so I want to shout out to Stephen Casey, Taylor, David on Facebook. So great you're connecting with us on Facebook. Also the same from YouTube, Twitch, and X. And for the folks also watching us on the Wave Now app on your smart TV devices. Again, great ways to stay connected with us here as we're sharing the stories happening in our community. Just a different method or option to go through some of the breakdowns that we want to share these stories with you right here on our live stream. All right, I'm Jose Sosaya. We're going to see you back here tomorrow night around the same time to start. So until then, take care. We'll see you soon.